Well, hello, and welcome back to the grind on the BMW 1976 BMW, pardon me, 2002 E10. So anybody new, welcome also. Enjoy it, or try to. On the motor, I did get it all put back together. Inside, all the pieces that I had ordered the wrong pieces for, the right pieces came. Everything's on, torqued down. Water pump was in the group of stuff there, so it's on. That's on. So here we are. All looks pretty good, and sort of got this shined up. Not bad. It was pretty grungy. So stick around, see everything that went on and went right and went wrong, and enjoy it. And if you stick around at the end, you might see something maybe down at the beach. Hey, what the hell? Okay, see you later. Bye. Yeah, so what'll I do while I'm waiting for parts to arrive, right? There's a nice flower, isn't it? So these things here are from tobacco cultivator, tobacco field cultivator. No tobacco on the island anymore that I know of. Maybe a bit. A couple of bicycle sprockets, right? This is a decoration out of a piece of cast iron. Can you see that? That's an old cast iron chair thing, bench. These bits here are from what do you call that? That's from blueberry harvester. So that's a brace and bit for anybody who doesn't know what a brace and bit is. Don't know. That's a piece of farm equipment. It's on an old brake disc, and then I put some legs out to hold it. And up on top is a spring out of something. Might have been out of that, or it might have been out of that one. I think it's a rear spring out of that. Not really sure though. Anyway, that's gonna take it over to the neighbors. There you go. Okay, here I am back on the motor putting together. Now, through the wonders of YouTube, it's been a couple of weeks since I've been working on this, and I did a whole bunch of other stuff here, which you'll see later. But this parts have arrived, so I'll just go ahead and put this together and see how things fit this time. Okay, let me find the parts. Wonder what I did with them. They're around here somewhere. Oh, over there. Yeah, so here's the bearing with the thrust washer on it, right? And the other one was tight fit in there. I had to sand it, but this one just slides right in, so that's good. So I'll put the bottom bearings in down here, then I'll drop that in, see how it feels turning on it. Okay. Yeah, there's 4 of them in there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the center one, gets the thrust bearing on it. And then the way I do it is I just put the edge without a little notch on it over here, close as possible to where it should be, and just slide it in like that. And that's not sitting quite straight, so I have to just maybe give it a little tap with something. There, that's better. So get them sitting flush. Now all of them sat flush, except for well, two of them sat flush. Hey. Now I'll put some that Looby Lube stuff on there. Where is it? Ultra Slick Permatex Ultra Slick. Yeah, here, let's see if this thing fits this time. I've blown out all the oil channels, and the crankshaft's right over there. I've also blown out all the oil channels on that. Then I put some dab of that red oil, that Permatex stuff, on all the journals here for the crankshaft. Now last time I put this in, it was tight. No, that's what it's supposed to do there. Just turns nice. Perfect. I'll put on the top parts and use that every nice. That's just smooth like a diesel motor, but it isn't diesel. Smooth like a boat motor. Boat motors are exceptionally smooth. I don't know why. Okay, big V8 that go in boats. Now I'll put in the rest of the parts. Where are they? Over here somewhere. These things here. Figure out where they go. I think I've got them marked with numbers on them. So I'll take them, put them together, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the center one. Okay. Yeah, so the book says that you put these in with the casting numbers towards the front of the engine this way. But when I took it apart, the casting numbers were on this side. And when I tried to put it together with the way the book says, it just doesn't fit. It won't go in. So this motor here goes the other way. So, and you can see the witness marks right here. I don't know if you can see that, the witness marks from where the little flange on the, see the flange there on the bearing where it used to be. So that's where it goes. So I'll just run these bolts in and go from there. See how that works, hey? Yeah, it still turns nice. So one in. For starters, I'll torque them down after a while. So now this is number I think that's number 5 there. I think number 1's over here somewhere. Yeah, that's number 1. And see, there's casting marks on it there. It says that's supposed to go to the front, but in this case it doesn't. It goes to the back. So that's the way it'll be. Okay, I'll get a shell, put it in here. Everything has to be as clean as you can possibly get it. Put this stuff together, because any bit of dirt that's in this will get onto the bearing surface and create a problem. Are you watching? Yeah, they're all in and it turns nice. No what do we call that? Not tight at all, just feels good. Which is what it's supposed to feel like. When I had it in there the other time, it just wouldn't turn because everything was oversized. Now I'll check the endplay on it and just see how that is. Yeah, so here I've got that on there, cast iron, so it holds on. And I got this set to 0 or pretty close to 0. Then we take a big screwdriver, find a big screwdriver, hang on. Take a big screwdriver and just push the thing as far as it'll go that way. See, and it's at 0, 2 and a bit, right? 1, 2 and a bit. Then push it the other way. How do I do that? Right here, maybe. And it's -1. So that's 3/1000ths of an inch end play, which I think is well within spec. In fact, I think it's a little bit below spec. So that's good. Yeah, so end play is supposed to be 003 to 006. So I think we're at the low end of it. So 2.5, pretty well, just less than 3, just 3 there on that side. And then go back the other way. And just halfway, so it's 3.0035 or something like that. And the book says, survey says, crankshaft end float 0.00335 to 0.00685. So we're right on the lower limit, which is good because that'll wear up a bit as it goes along. I haven't torqued them yet, but I'll torque them right away here. Yeah, torquing. Here we go. Get you set up here. So this little wrench here goes up to 70 or 80. It's a decent sized thing instead of that great big thing. 45 foot-pounds, it says in the book. Well, turns nice. Turns real nice. Happy guy I am. Happy guy. Okay. Yeah, there, crankshaft's in and torqued. All the bolts are torqued to 45 foot-pounds, 60 some odd, 62 nanometers or whatever it is. In here, main bearing caps, 45 foot-pounds, 62 nanometers. So, good. Now, next is what's next? Fitting the rings, I think. Make sure the rings are good. So, ring gap on the top ring, which is in there now. And I just use this, I just pushed it in with that, and that makes it flat in there. So the ring gap on the top ring is 0.30, what am I here? End gap, 0.30 to 0.45 millimeters. So that's 33 fits in there easy. 40 is a little bit of a, a little bit of a tight fit. So that's good right there. You can pull that one out. That one fits. So I'll do that and I'll check all of them. I'll let you know if anything's wrong. Yeah, so that's the oil ring. It comes as one piece, and this bit here goes inside it. So when you put it together, you can see here where it joins together, goes to inside here. I think that's the way it's marked. Yeah, so the gap, see that gap there? That gap goes to that side, and no gap where, like opposite where the gap on the ring is. But I just take that out of there to check the whatever you call that, gap on it. So the gap on these is just slightly smaller than the gap on the compression rings. And I only just check the minimum to make sure that it's good, because I can't change the maximum, and I'm not the way it is. As long as they're not over tight, I'm happy with them. So that's that one done. Hang on, I'll get the next one. So I got 4 sets of rings made in Turkey, of all the places in the world. And then I just marked them, each one, like I put a 3 on that box. That's ring for piston number 3. And open it up. And the way they have it, like they have it marked here, this one's the top ring. And some of them, like this one here is marked, it says top on here. No, you likely can't see that. But that's, the first one I didn't say top on it, didn't say anything. But that's with the bevel up. So the first one is in there backwards. Okay, I'll just keep on checking them as I go. Then I just slide them in like this and turn it. Push them down a couple inches and check the gap. Yeah, and that gap fits. So that's that one checked. Move on to the next one, which is the second compression ring. Now it doesn't say top on it, but it's got a bevel on here, which by the diagram, a bevel like that one right there, in bottom middle, and that by the diagram, that's the bottom. So the top is the flat side. Where am I at? Piston number 3? Was that where I was last time? I hope so. Yeah, and they're all fitted, and the gap is good on each one of them. Like the biggest reason for checking the gap is that if any of the gaps are too small, then if the motor warms up, the ring will expand, the gap gets smaller and make it tight inside the piston, too tight, and that will seize your motor. That's happened to me before too, so gotta be careful with these things. So I'm going to do these one at a time. They're all set to go clean. This arrow here points to the front of the motor. This is number 1 piston. So, and there's the new bearings. Nice and clean, right? Anyhow, so the old bearings are also nice and clean because they, I don't think, have very many kilometers or miles on them. So now what I'll do is I'll put the rings on, then I'll put the bearings in, then I've got this thing here, which is a ring compressing tool, which is actually a really good tool. Like, it just works really, really well. And I'll use that and then hopefully put them all down inside there. Okay, now I need number 1 cylinder. Here's number 1. I'm going to get the rubber gloves off for this stuff, because I don't want any bits of rubber left in the cylinders. Hey, that wouldn't be good. That would be not good. Okay, so the first one to go on is the bottom one, which is this one here. Let's see if I can get it squeezed on there. I don't know if I should put that ring down there first. Wonder if I should just put that thing down in place, right? I'll give it a try, see what happens. So that right there has to be on this side of it, or close to this side of it. Well, that was easier than I thought it would be. Okay, one ring on. Now this one here, well, number 2 ring, it's got a bevel in it right here. I don't know if you can see that bevel, but there's a bevel right there. And that bevel goes down. So it goes. This ring's a bit tougher to work with. It's stiffer. Oh, not in yet. Don't you hate it when that happens? Don't you just hate it when that happens? You don't want to break the ring. There. Okay, that's number 2 in. And it feels good. Oops. And number 1, it says top right there. It's very disappointing if you break a ring. But the rings on it weren't that bad anyhow, so if I do break a ring, I'll just get one of the other ones. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. Now, ring gaps. So, I'm going to put the gap for that one here, the gap for the second one there. So one gap here, one gap here, one gap there. That's the way that'll be. Then next is, so this is number 1. Out of the way. Well, there somewhere. Now, bearings. Yep, that's one done. That's that part done. So then we get this with a bunch of oil on it. Now I'll put my gloves back on, right? Things are about to get oily. So they get oiled. This gets oiled just by splashing, but this gets oiled from the crankshaft. Now they say, they being all those wise personnel, this one here goes here, that one goes about there. All those wise personnel say that you shouldn't use that pink oil, that don't use this on the pistons because it's too much lubricant for them, and it causes issues, makes too much compression. So just normal motor oil. Or 7-Up, you know. 7-Up is good. 7-Up is good for everything. Good like that. Then this thing here goes on. Which way is right? Doesn't matter which way it is. And it just hooks into one of these hooky things. Like that. Get all the rings in there. Make sure they're all seated in there good. Well, and this will, might have it on too tight. Yeah, I gotta back it off one click. That one. Make sure I got the gaps right, in the right spot. No, they aren't. That's good now. Now I got to tighten it up. There. That's got all the rings pushed in and compressed. I'll give it a little bit more tightness. I think that should work. Then don't be scared of oil. But get the hair out of it. And I'll put some oil down the cylinder. Now let's go over here. Look in the right place, I wonder. Arrow to the front, like that. Yep, that's pretty good. But I forgot to put goopy stuff on that. So I'll have to get some extra goopy stuff in there. There, that'll work. This goes on this way. Whoops. Like this. One done. There's one done. I haven't torqued it at the other end, but it's going up and down. That's what it's supposed to do. Arrows pointing to the front. Yep, that's what it's supposed to be. So now I've got 3 more to go, and I'll just carry on with that same methodology. Well, I noticed like I should have the piston down to the bottom to make it easier to put it together. So the next one, I'll have those 2 down to the bottom, then I'll turn it around and get that one down to the bottom. Okay. Yeah, here I'm on number 3 now. Things are going reasonably well. So the nut that goes on to the big end bearing here has got a like a ridge on that side that goes downward, right? See that? It's got a chamfer on it that goes, well, upward really, but in this case it's down. And that catches the thing there. The thing catches the rod cap. Then I just tighten them. Like I just do one at a time and tighten them up. And you know, it might be easier to go ahead and do all of the pistons in and then tighten up the crankshaft or tighten this stuff up, but I figure I just give it a snug up. Everything's then each piston, you don't have to think about what I did. It's all done. The whole thing's done. Okay, now I'll turn it over once. See if I can. It's getting heavier to turn over every time I put another piston in, but so far, oh yeah, that's going. Okay, last one there. Now, oh boy, this thing's getting heavier. Okay, I'll get the next piston done up and slide it in there. Yeah, there's the last one hammered in and went. Now it's down as far as it goes, and I'll turn the motor over and put the rod cap on. Then I'll torque them up. There it is right there. A little bit of red stuff there. And a little bit of red stuff here. Okay. And then this goes this way. See, this indent there for the keeper is opposite of the indent on the piston side. But that's these ones here, the connecting rod or the main bearings, they were the same. I don't know why. That's the way it is. That's how it came apart, so that's how I put it back together. Now whether they did it wrong at the factory, I don't know, but it seems to fit all right, so won't fight with it. Same again, these the bevel on that goes towards the piston. That's a good way to say it, right? Okay, I'll find out the torque on that and then we'll torque them down. So 40 foot-pounds or 55 nanometers. Click. 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 Now I'll just see if it turns over nice and easy. Hang on, I'll get a wrench to fit on the end there. I think that's that wrench there. Here we are. Oh yeah, that's gonna be nice. There's about top dead. Center. Okay. Now, what's next? Should I put the oil? I'll put this together down here maybe. This is going to be difficult. Think about it. Think about it here. Yeah, so this ring compression tool that I have is about the best thing I've ever had for ring compression. And I don't know where I got it. I think likely at Canadian Tire. And likely about 40 years ago, and I've had it ever since. Just, you know, it's just there. It's like, yeah, decide which one of these clippy things it goes into, and that's maybe not. There, see, that just fits into one of these clippy things. This one here in this case. Then this is the fine adjustment, so you can go after, like, that just moves this slider along here to make it tighter or looser. And it works just great. Like I think when I've ever used this tool, I've never broken a ring. With those other tools, like that you have that little thing on the side that goes like this, I've broken rings. So anyway, good tool. There, now I had a 50-50 chance of getting that part there on the right way around, and I had it backwards. So I had to take those bolts out, turn that around. Now, I think I have it right now. There's an O-ring goes on there, and then this little, like that little metal plate goes on here, and then this goes on top of that over the O-ring here and over those two bolts there. So now I'll find the bolts for that and get them in there. They're in that bucket right there somewhere. Yeah, it looks like that slides right into where it's supposed to be there now. Okay, so I must have got it right-ish. Yeah, there, new chain for the oil pump. It's on. Then I put a little bit of Loctite on this thing here. These ones I didn't, they've got lock washers. These bolts here that hold on up here and up here, I put a bit of Loctite on them. And there's an O-ring goes right in there and underneath that bit. And then otherwise, now I torqued these down to 25 or 30, somewhere around there. There's no specification in the book for it. Not that I found anyhow. Okay, now what's next? I think I got to turn it over. And next goes the head on, right? Or should I put this part of the valve cover on? But I'll turn it over anyhow, so I see what I'm doing. Yeah, so I put these things here through the parts cleaner. They came out, they're clean, but they're, 50 years of clean on them, right? And then I went at the valve cover for a while with like 320 grit sandpaper, but still, it'll take an awful lot more sanding to get down through that 50 years of, and there's corroded bits on it like here and here. So I'm going to it's clean, so that's good. I'll let it be. And there's my parts cleaner bucket. Anyway, but now I'll give this thing a coat of paint over the back, over it to make it look better. And that'll be good. Yeah, there, that's looking like better, right? If nothing else, it'll be a good looking motor when I get done. So that's enough for today. Doggy wants to go hunt and stuff, right? So, yeah, good smells there. There must be something happened there. Chipmunk or something. Okay, here we go. Okay, back at it. So I have to put on the two bits that go here. One's the chain guide, one's the chain guide with the tensioner, or chain tensioner and chain guide, right? So there's this bit. This is the chain tensioner business here. So I'll take that out. I'll get this seal out of here and put a new seal in. And I'll clean off these gaskets that are on the other side. You can look, see, still got the gasket on there from before. Now, this one, these three here go through the water pump right to the thing, to the frame. So I'll have to find the water pump. I wonder where it is. I wonder if I have one. Well, lots of wondering, right? Anyway, I'll get that off there and clean that up. Yeah, so this thing here, like that, right? Then, the way the spring is, see that the spring is coiled at the top there? Not coiled at the bottom. It goes like that. And then this bit here comes out, maybe. Yeah, there. Oops. Might need two hands for this operation, right? Oh, there we go. That comes out like that. That creates tension on the timing chain, right? Okay. Anyhow, dirty hands here. I'll shut you off. Yeah, so the kit comes with two washers like that. One goes on there, and that same size goes on the bolt that goes in the bottom of the oil pan. Now, what did I do with that? It's got to be here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. So it goes onto the oil pan, which I painted yesterday to make it look pretty, right? Right in here. as not to lose it somewhere along the way. There, that's on. Okay. Now this is the pressure thing. It appears there's a one-way valve in here. Don't know what it does for sure, but it's only allows it to go that way. So not really sure how that all works. I'll take a look down the barrel and see what's going on. Okay, so the barrel, nothing there, nothing inside the barrel. That's the tensioner there. It's in good shape, like it's like brand new shape. And this sort of just sits on there and pushes on it. And that little hole there, the little hole right in the middle of that, that will allow oil to go up, but it won't allow oil to return. Looks like that's got a little bit of wear on it from years and years of 50 years. And this one here has zero wear on it, so maybe that is a new bit. Might be a new tensioner and a new guard. Who knows? Anyway, but it's got a new chain now too, so what the hell. Yeah, new seal in here. I just pressed out the old one on the press and put in and tap the new one in. It's pretty simple. Put a little bit of oil around the edge of it, and so it taps in easily. Now the one of these things takes the tensioner. Which side takes the tensioner? This side takes the tensioner. That side takes the guide. And there's two clippy things for that. Okay, well, I'll get them and clean them up and put them on. So here's the guide, and here's the tensioner, right? This thing here slides into, when you put this on, you got to slide it into that little gap there. And then you can run the tensioner down on it later. Because the tensioner, it doesn't have to clip on it, it just sort of sits on like that. It goes up, pushes it back and forth. Okay, that's simple, right? Careful, see this, the clippy thing there, a clippy thing there, and a clippy thing there. These two are a bit smaller than this one. So if you put this clippy thing onto one of these, it'll fall off. How do I know that, right? Okay, anyway, now next would be put the timing chain on into a spot here and see if we can tie it up there somewhere, and then I can put this cover on. Yeah, so there's timing chain on and in the right place. There's no forward or backward action on this. It doesn't matter which way it goes. But the one that I took off had a master link in it. I'll show you that 1 second. Yeah, so here's the come on, magnetic screwdrivers. Here's the one I took off. It's just slightly longer than the one that was on there, and there's the master link right there. So now it's okay to have a master link on, but you have to make sure that you're going to turn the engine this way, because the master link, if you turn it backwards, like if you put it on this way, then it's going to knock the master link off, and then you're in trouble, right? Anyway, that's okay. I got a new one, and it's on there, and it's master link free. It's a continuous chain from the factory. This one, this chain is just a tiny, like 1/8 of an inch shorter than the other chain. So the other chain, I guess, was a little bit worn. Okay, carry on. Yeah, so I just tied a tie wrap through the chain to keep it from falling down on there. Now I'll put gasket goop on there, gasket goop on there, which is that aircraft Permatex aircraft stuff. That's what Rusty Beauties uses, and I guess it's good enough for him. It's good enough for me. Then this, yeah, this gets a gasket all the way around there. Okay, let me find the gaskets and see if they fit. Yeah, everything fits on there. It's got a guide post here and a guide post there. Whoops, used to fit before I knocked it off. Anyhow, that fits on there. So I'll put some gasket goop, paint it on there, paint it on one side of that, and then put that on. Then I'll paint the other side and paint the other side and put the cover on. See how that works out. The only thing I have to worry about is this going right about there somewhere. Okay. Yeah, so there's gasket on there and gasket on there, goop on it, goop on all that. That's rubber glove work, or else you'll be just covered in that stuff. Now let's see if I can get this to sit up here somewhere. And that's got to sit about right there somewhere. Then that goes up. But I think I have to take that bolt off there, right? Oh, wait a second. Yeah, okay, give this a go, see what happens. I think it'll just go on there. The two guides at the bottom there slide right in, and that goes right there, like that. Uh-oh. It goes right there, like that. Yeah, here. So I got this. Yeah, the gasket's in the right spot there. Not long enough here. See if it's in the right spot here. Yeah, it's okay there. Okay there. Gotta be okay there, because that's the holder. Okay, let's find a couple of bolts for this now. I think these are them right here. These are they. Okay, well, I'll figure these out. Yeah, so there's three around that length there, right? But the one of them is longer than the other two. So this one goes up here. How about that? Might have it in my stash over here. Okay, I'll start looking. Yeah, so I found M8 125 bolt that fits in there. That one there I had. That one there I had. These three here go with the water pump. Now I've got water pump. I've got two of them that are long enough, maybe. And maybe that, and maybe these. Like there's that, and that. And maybe these two go here to hold something on. That could be. We'll just do some experimenting here. But in the world of my life, in a former life, I had a car like this one. And I sold it. But then I bought another one from my friend Rick. And it was a 1968 variety of a 2002 or a 1602 or whatever it was back then. I think it was a 2002, I'm not sure. And along with that came a spare motor. So in behind everything here, and this spare motor I've been dragging around with me for 40 years. I've had it for just forever. And here it is, right? So it might be, there's some of the bolts that I'm missing, and some of the questions I have could be answered on this motor here. Because it all seems to be here. Yeah, you see that? There's that bit there, held on by those two bolts. These three bolts are missing because of, that's missing. This here, do I have that on mine? Don't know. There's a bolt there, and there's a bolt there. So it could be that that's a stud in there. But that definitely holds something, and I think I've seen that part. I've seen this part in my bag of parts. So I won't take this apart, but that's interesting. Now, I do believe that's on my car already, on my motor. One bolt there. Yeah, and that's just, and then the top one's just held on by those bolts. I have them because I took them apart. That looks interesting. Now, whether is that a stud or is that a bolt? Okay, I need a long one for there, but I need those two long ones. Those two that I have in there are long enough to hold onto that bracket. So let's find that bracket. All right, I've seen that bracket. I have seen that bracket somewhere. Okay, I think that's alternator bracket or air pump bracket or something. We'll find it. These ones here, I can't see anything else hooking on this side. So it's, don't know. I think something does hook on that side because the belt goes there. Well, we'll just find out. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look too promising in there. I think some water got to it somewhere. Oh well. Over 40 years or so, or even maybe before I had it. Who knows? Anyway, we'll I'll take that news. I'll see if I can find this bracket. And then that goes on with that bracket. Okay. Yeah, there. That's the alternator bracket. And then also a lift pin for lifting the motor, right? There and there. Okay. So now those ones are solved. That's water pump. I don't have to worry about them for now. This one's in. Now I can just go ahead and put the head on, can I? Let me think. I think so. Then I can move it around to top dead center and we'll see what we can figure out for getting the timing done. I think there's instructions in the book to do timing. So I'll put this pulley on before I put the head on. That way I'll know where top dead center sits and stuff like that. And it's right now in the middle of your $5 overhaul. I'll just let that dry for 10 or 15 minutes, then we'll stick it on the car. Okay, now installing the head, right? So I've put this pulley on here. Did I show you that? I don't know. And now I've moved the motor to top dead center. This is piston number 1. And it's these little dots here. It's actually top dead center for both of them, but that'd be intake stroke or firing stroke, exhaust stroke, whatever. Anyhow, now the other thing you have to do is set the camshaft so that this mark here is on there. This dowel position for the camshaft pulley, which is somewhere on this planet. Here it is. You see on the back of the camshaft pulley there's that dowel there. That has to fit in. And this thing here, by the description of it all, it looks like it's in good shape. It's not hollowed out or anything. So I think we're okay. Anyway, that being said, so then that's set there, and that creates it so that piston number 1, which is this one, and piston number 4, which is that one down there, both the valves are up all the way, so they won't interfere with this. And it is an interference motor, like if they go, like these ones are open, and you see that'll come down into the piston, right? Anyway, that's all right. We'll just make sure it doesn't. So then these are all the way down, they won't interfere. And then you go and get your head gasket. I'll get the head gasket, new one, over here, and stick that on. Then I can put the head on, and not to move the position of this at all until such time as I get the chaining on, that timing chain and the sprocket on. So, but first we'll get the head on and snug it down. I'm not going to torque it down yet until I get the timing chain on. So now the book says to put some gasket gooey stuff around this part of the gasket right up here where it impacts this business. not to get any on the rest of the gasket. Then the head goes on. So let's see how that goes. So I've got the settings correct for where the valves are, and I forgot to turn on the camera. Hey, well. Anyway, just putting the bolts in. These two at the end are exposed to the elements, so I'm going to take them out to the wire wheel and clean them off in a minute. Yeah, that looks a bit better now, hey? It's not rusty anymore. Here we go. I'll just pull them snug, right? They go somewhere, I'm sure. Figure it out soon. These, however, are the right volts. So then you bring this up here, like this, and you get this thing, see that dowel on it, pointing straight down, and kind of load it in here. Oh, now it's going to be a fight, right? Because a nice tight belt. That's not quite right. I think it's got to go one link that way. Because it's just within a fraction. I should have put a mark there. I'll put a mark on the outside before I start dicking with it here. That's where the mark is. I got a little white mark there now to guide me in to the right spot, and just so that I know it's the right spot, right? That should keep them. And I got yuck all over me, right? Okay. That's on now. So there's these little locking tabs go in. You just nail them in a bit. I gotta leave it at top dead center until such time as I get it all down properly. Okay. Yeah, here we are. 54 foot-pounds. Timing chain tensioner. This requires some rubber gloves. Hang on. I'll put some oil down here. Some oil on this thing here. it just slides onto that little flange on there. And the spring goes in this way, that coil top at the top. That looks better, doesn't it? New washer. Now you got to get this in here and not lose control of it, eh? Now I need my 19 again. Doesn't have to be torqued, but it has to be tight. That's good. So now it should be safe to turn. I think that works. So I'll put this cover on today, and then that'll be the end of today. That'll be enough for today. Cool. Yeah, so that's all gooped up. Gaskets are in place, gooped up. Yuck, goop everywhere. Goop, goop, goop. So you tighten these. So you tighten down these ones here first, because they'll pull the whole thing down, right? Then give these ones a tight. They're just tight. So the valve cover gasket only goes one way. Put it the other way and the lines don't line up. These two line up and then the rest don't, because see, that's off and that's off. Not the same. Anyway, so I'll just put the valve cover on loosely to keep the dirt out of that, and then I might have to take it apart again when I want to put the fuel pump thing in there. Maybe that'll be tomorrow. Well, there you go. There's the top end done. Now I have to go and put the rear seal on down there. Put the distributor housing on. There's some waterish stuff up here, right here to go, and the fuel pump thing. Okay. Anyway, that's pretty good progress today. Okay, that's enough for today. See you tomorrow. Yeah, this cover is really ugly. So what I might do is I might just paint it all black. I'll sand off this stuff here to get shiny. These things. Sand off this stuff here to get shiny. Then I'll paint it all black, sand them off again so there's those aluminum strips coming through. That might look all right, because it really looks awful right there. Anyway, later. Yeah, that cleaned up a little bit. I'll do some more work on it another time, but it sort of cleans up, so I'll just be happy with it the way it is. The what did I use? I used one of these. Where is it? One of those discs right there. And that's fairly easy, but it sure was a lot of dirt on there. It was coming off everywhere. Okay, just tap this old seal out of that, and I'll just put this flat bar on top of it and see if I can tap that down. Hang on, where's my persuader? Here it is. That's most of the way down, right? Now it comes up against the base of that, so that's, I think, pretty good. I might tap it just a bit more right here. I think that's good. I don't think I have to do any more than that. Yeah, it's down against the bottom. Okay, so that's in. Now I've got the gasket on here with lots of goop on it. Can you see any of that? Not likely. Yeah, down in here. And I put some grease put grease on the inner edge of this thing here so that it would travel easier. And I'll put a bunch of grease into this seal here, so that helps it along later. Okay. Oh dear, that's not right. Okay, I went to all the trouble to put that on, and then that's not right. Shit. Okay, see that hanging out there? Okay. Yeah, there, that's in there right now. What I had to do was, did you notice that there was a little bit right here that was hanging out, and it got caught backwards in when I was putting the seal on. So what I had to do was just undo all the bolts, pull this thing out just a 1/4 inch, and get the thing straightened out, and then push it back in and it's sitting good now. We hope. We'll find out if it leaks, eh? Mostly those things, when they're brand new, they're a little bit flexible anyhow. So that's all that on the bottom done. Now I'll just next step is, oh, what is the next step? Where am I? What day is it? I don't know. Next step is putting the oil pan on. Okay. There, that's 21 bolts holding it on there. I'll tighten that up so I can put oil in it. I'll put some oil in it after a while, but first I want to get this stuff on. I'll turn the motor over for that. Okay. Yeah, so there's oil filter thing on there and water pump on here. Now I had quite a journey to find all the hardware for this. These 3 bolts are extra long, and I found 2 of them. Then I had to go back and searching through all the boxes in the other shop over there, and eventually I found one hidden in there. And I went and stole some hardware from the old engine in the other shop for some of these bolts here, because I just ran out of bolts. Oh well, that's all right. Anyhow, so that's getting there, right? Okay, I'll put on this thing here, whatever it is. I have to clean it up. And I'll put on the fuel pump, I think, and then we'll call that motor done. Yeah, so this thing here goes on here like this, right? Goes on here. But it shares that bolt with the intake manifold. So I think that the intake manifold has to go on first, and then this goes on. So I think that's next time. Anyway, there. We'll call that. So altogether, everything is a little bit of a lean on there now, but it's all the internals are done. Most of the externals are done, and it's looking pretty good. I did put this on. Did I show you that? That's the where the distributor sits. Drive for the distributors back here. Okay, so that's it for this week, and let's see. I'll just turn it up right here so we can see it better. Oh, the motor gets heavier and heavier as it goes along. So likely I should have filled this with oil, because that creates a pressure on the timing chain. I'll do that before I finish putting it together. I'll take that off and fill that with oil. And everything else is good. This here I'll wait. This I'll wait until I have until I'm putting the intake manifold on, and I'll do that. But next week I want to start to get it to turn over if I can, and build some oil pressure in it and see how things are. see what I can figure out. Okay. Hey, thanks for watching, and yeah, do come back in the future. See you later. Bye. Yeah, 18th of June. Some of them are dying out, but some of them are still coming on. Nothing happening out there today. Let's see what's going on at the beach. Rose bushes coming to life. Bumblebees everywhere you look. And tide is pretty outish. And there's Buster. Hey. Okay, see you later.